Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be my August monthly beauty roundup, where I'm sharing all of my thoughts on everything new that I tried throughout the month of August, the good, the bad and the forgettable. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you guys will know, because I haven't stopped banging on about it, we moved at the very end of July. We moved house, and that entire time, ever since, for 6 weeks now, we have been on our school summer holidays here. So I really haven't tried that much new makeup over the last couple of months. I think I've worn makeup probably 4 times in the last 6 weeks. Because it's school holidays, we now live by the beach. I'm constantly in the sea with my children and just on days out, and I haven't really cared to wear makeup, so we don't have that much to talk about. But don't click off just yet, for goodness sake, because what we do have to talk about is, for the most part, very, very good, and some very, very bad. And because we're a little low on makeup stuff this month, I have thrown in some other interesting items that I think you'll be interested in. So let's kick off with this book by James Patterson and Vicky Ward, The Idaho Murders. So of course this is a non-fiction book, something very, very different for James Patterson, but I am a huge fan of James Patterson. I've read all of his books. I was obsessed with the Alex Cross series for many years, and like so many of us, I have been absolutely horrified and actually really disturbed by this case. I think when this first came out, as someone who watches a lot of true crime and reads a lot of true crime books, and I've always been really fascinated by, not by the crimes themselves, but the crime solving process, like criminology, crime scene investigation has always really fascinated me. So I have read about, watched a lot of cases covered deeply over the years, but this case, it really scared me at the time. Although it had happened a million miles away across the ocean, there was really something so disturbing, even more so than a lot of crimes that we hear. It really deeply affected me for a very long time. Still now, I feel like it's made me really super wary of doors being locked. We have balconies here and balcony sliding doors here, and it's made me hyper vigilant about the security of our home, because it was just such a horrifying thought what happened there. So when I saw James Patterson was writing a book about this case, I was always going to be really excited to read it, and I did. It was very, very different to what I was expecting. I purchased the hardback because I knew that at least my sister would want to read this, and that's where it is now, because I finished it and now I've passed it on to my sister to read on her holiday, because she also is really into true crime. And it was very different to what I was expecting. It certainly doesn't focus, which I really loved and appreciated. It does not focus very much at all on the perpetrator of these horrific crimes. It's much more focused on the families. James Patterson spoke to a lot of the affected families and survivors of this case, and it focused so much more on the victims, their families, the victims' lives, and the families' lives and how they're doing, and that I really appreciated that. I think the person who carried out these crimes has had enough attention that they were seeking, and I really appreciated that the attention, the focus of this book was very heavily on the survivors and the victims and their families, which I really appreciated it. It was an incredibly tough read, which I don't think I expected, probably because of the focus on the victims and their families and learning about their lives. And it was almost like like a memorial for them, which I really appreciated. Not what I expected at all. Not your typical true crime book. Very, very sad. Everything about this case has always just made me feel so sad. And of course, all crime cases are sad, and I always have huge empathy for victims and survivors of true crimes. There's something about this case that feels almost especially sad. I think just because of the number of victims, the number of families whose lives were ruined forever, and I think he did a really great sensitive job of keeping the focus on who it should be on, rather than making it this intrusive, invasive look at things that are none of our business and don't concern us, which is, you know, shows how involved that the families and the survivors were and how much they wanted to be involved in this project, as opposed to something that sort of has a focus somewhere it shouldn't be. So I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. I found it a really tough read, but I think if you're interested in this case, it's a really great read. And it's important because, like I said, we get to learn and see and hear from the families, and that I think is worth reading. By the way, if I look weird today and almost like I'm tilted this way, I put my neck out again. I keep doing this. I'm such an aggressive stretcher. In the morning, I will do like these crazy big stretches, and I continuously am putting my neck out, and I can't move that way. I can only like lean this way. So if you think, what's she doing? That's what I'm doing. Okay, so I tried a new fragrance this month. This is Coro by Xerjoff. Now this used to be, I think, a Selfridges exclusive potentially, and has now been released as like a permanent fixture in their like regular line, freely available to all. It's a floral fruity, and I was really interested in this because it's just got some of my favourite notes in here. Mango, pineapple, tropical fruits in the opening and the middle. And then we've got like an amber, vanilla, musky, sandalwood dry down. So a lot of plus points. I'm really enjoying tropical fruity fragrances at the moment because we've been having these warmer summery months. It's just been like my jam. So I purchased a sample, as you can see, and I'm absolutely going back for a full bottle. This is so beautiful. It's not a loud, screechy, you know, sickly, sweet fragrance that a lot of these sort of fruity tropical florals can be. It's no herba pura, okay? Put it that way. I've really enjoyed this. It's just sweet enough that it feels very feminine, very girly, very daytime friendly, but it's got that musky amber sort of warm dry down that really keeps it very sexy. Perfect holiday fragrance, perfect warm weather fragrance, never became too cloying, too heavy, too overpowering. I've really enjoyed this, and I can't wait to get my full bottle. Next up, a bit of a strange one, I won't lie to you. I want to talk to you guys about this rip tie. That's what this is called. If you aren't familiar with these, which, let's be honest, why would you be? They have basically two like hair elastics on either end. And then this made me go cross-eyed then. And then a sort of braided like cord that is stretchy between them. Now, if you're thinking, what on earth is this for? I understand you. So let me show you this in action on my daughter. Now my daughter has very long but fine hair, and a lot of it. It is an absolute breeding ground for knots. Most of the time it's fine. When it's not fine is on holiday. I have tried everything on this girl. The tightest braids, plaits, buns. I've tried literally everything you can think of. Product, pins, everything. If we're on holiday or she's just in and out of water, that's when we noticed it, when we went on holiday in May. I was trying everything, and then regardless, because she's in and out of the pool all day long, regardless of what I do, by the end of the day, her hair is a matted horror show, and then it's like an hour of screaming while I try and brush it not free. So I was looking into like solutions for this. Do I need to put some kind of extra product? I don't know. Is there a hairstyle? What can I do? Nothing worked. And I came across these rip ties, which were designed by surfers. So I thought, wow, okay, this has got to work. So as you can see from this photo of this on my daughter, you basically put the hair tie on the top of her hair, and I do a plait, like a fairly tight plait, just to double check. And then you wrap it all the way around and tie it at the bottom. Let me tell you, since we moved, all we've been doing, all the children have been doing, is boogie boarding. That's all they do all day long. She's in the water, boogie boarding, snorkeling, just in the sea all day, every day. We have never had a problem since this arrived. I could not believe it. It's so good, so effective. If you too have knotty, tangly hair and you want to keep it in place, especially if you're in and out of water, highly recommend. Next up, I have a few skincare items I want to talk to you about. First up, the Lancome Hydra Zen Gel Cream. This was sent to me in PR and I really don't like it. If you thought sending me something in PR would mean that I would only give glowing reviews, let this be a reminder that that's not the case here. I don't like this at all. I have only used this, I've used this up because that's how I am. Once I've started using something, I can't stop, even if I hate it. So I have used this whole tub. I think this lasted me like 2 weeks, which is not good. I feel like a moisturizer, one of these sort of pot, like tub moisturizers, especially when I use different skincare daytime and evening, okay? So I've only been using this as my evening moisturizer and it's been gone in 2 weeks. And I think one of the reasons for that is it doesn't moisturize me. I still feel dry as a bone when I've put a load of this on. I feel like I'm having to use a lot just to not feel dry. And then I wake up in the morning and I feel dry because it just dissolves and is gone into my skin. And I don't even have dry skin. So this is a no for me. I don't find it to be hydrating enough at all. And I went through it so quickly. I don't think it sort of presents value for money either. This was a total fail for me. But luckily, the next moisturizer I tried as my overnight moisturizer was the Emma Hardie Lotus Flower Treatment Cream. And this one I've been loving. It's very light, it dissolves really easily. I feel like I need a small amount to feel super hydrated and to get to wake up still feeling that hydration. So this over this, okay, I much preferred this. And I finally got around this month to trying out properly the Charlotte Tilbury Dark Spot Correcting Radiance Recovery Serum. And it was the perfect timing because, as I said, we've been spending a huge amount of time in the sea, boogie boarding. For me, I've been paddle boarding and just floating about in there and spending a lot of time at the beach. So try as I might, SPF 50 constantly. My melasma is still thriving more than I'd love it to be, which is fine. I'd much rather have melasma and just been enjoying my time with my children. But it was the perfect time to put this to the test because this is a serum and it is designed to deal with like hyperpigmentation, dark spots, all of that good stuff. So I've been trying this out for a good couple of weeks now, so it's still slightly early days for something like this, but I'm already noticing a big improvement in my melasma. I've got a little dot here. I've got a little bit coming like above my eyebrows, that, you know, the typical areas that you get melasma, especially when it's like sun exposure related. And this is definitely working really, really well to minimize it. So I'm really enjoying it so far, but we're not all the way through yet. I'll keep you posted. The one thing I don't like about this is it has to go on bare skin, and I like to do a toner first. I use this in the evening only. I like to do a toner after my cleanser. If I do that, this pills like a mother hubbard every time. I've tried a few different toners. I thought it was maybe my toner. It doesn't like going on top of anything that I've tried, so you need to use it sort of straight after cleansing or just on bare, clean skin, because otherwise it really likes to pill. Very annoying. And then we've got a bit of a body treatment. This is the Alpha H Retinol Reboot Exfoliating Body Treatment. I was hoping that this would be very good for my strawberry skin or keratosis, you know the one. I have to say I haven't found it improving that, but I have noticed my skin being silky smooth. So if you just have sort of rough skin, this is beautiful. Really has given me like silky soft skin. If you're trying to get rid of strawberry skin, I think there's better out there. Okay, so now let's move on to the makeup. First of all, I picked up 2 new shades of these Rhode Pocket Blush Sticks. I've used both of these now on camera. One in my Get Ready With Me for, was it my date night? And then one in my makeup and movies. So we have Tan Line and, that's not the right one, and Sun Soak. So Sun Soak, rich, almost like bricky red, and then Tan Line, really subtle, pretty, almost like mauve, sort of neutral leaning mauve shade. absolutely obsessed with tan line. I think this was the one I used in my date night, Get Ready With Me, and I loved how my makeup looked that day. I also used this the other day when I had like 5 minutes to get ready for an evening out with my family, and I just did that, no bronzer, no highlighter, and it looked gorgeous. It's so easygoing, so pretty. I love this formula. I know lots of people hate the packaging because it's not bougie, it's very light and small though, and I really love the formula. Gorgeous glowy finish, really easy to use. You know, I'm not much of a cream product girl, and certainly not much of a stick cream product girl, but these really have won me over, and the tan line shade went straight in my top drawer, and it's been one of my most used products of the month. Next up, let's talk about Lisa Eldridge's new brow pencil. I was so excited about this because I feel like Lisa's sort of her thing when it comes to makeup is it's really emphasizing and enhancing what you've got, your natural beauty, and I feel like brows are something that really fits that perfectly. This is such a nice brow pencil. I don't know about you, but I don't find brow pencils or brow products in general particularly exciting. Okay, there's only so excited I can be about the brow pencil, but I've been using this for a good while now. I was lucky to be sent this prior to the launch, so I got to test it out a good amount before telling you guys my thoughts on it, and it's just perfect. Beautiful packaging, really diddy, precise pencil. I have the shade Deep Brunette, and I also will say one of the other things I love about this is the shade. I feel like a lot of these shades around my sort of hair color are like really warm. Do you see how natural that is? And that's with like no touching. You barely touch and you'll get that really perfect crispy line. It's not too smudgy that sort of makes your lines blend into one, but it's soft and natural. I've been using this for a good couple of weeks now, and not once has a single bit of the product snapped off, which happens to me with all of my other pencils, my Huda, my Benefit, my other favorites. They're always sort of snapping off, even if you're really careful and you're gentle and you don't wind up too much, they break off because they're so tiny that, you know, that happens. They're very fragile. Not this one, and it wears very, very well as well. Not my most exciting product to talk about, but it's a real staple must-have, you know, everyday use product, and that is such a good one. Next up, I picked up the brown shade of one of my favorite mascaras this month, the Hourglass Unlocked. I've been loving this mascara ever since I sort of rediscovered it. I think, was it last year now? I've loved it. It's always been in my sort of repurchase. It's probably maybe my second favourite to the Charlotte Tilbury of all time. Love, love, love the mascara. The brown shade I don't love as much as the black. I feel as though there's not enough difference to sort of make me switch over. It looks on the lashes like the black one. There's, to my eye at least, there's barely a noticeable difference, and yet with the black you do get that sort of more dramatic effect, which is typically my jam. I think my favourite ever brown mascara is probably the Lisa Eldridge. I just think the shade of that one is so good. It's so soft and it looks like a, you know, a brown, but you still somehow get the definition, whereas with this one I feel like it just looks the same as the black. There's barely a noticeable difference, so I don't think there's much point in having both or trying both. Just pick which one because they're pretty much the same, but it is an amazing mascara. I do love it. Amazing length, separation, lift, and because it is a fibre mascara, very easy to remove and doesn't run down your face. Next up, another example, evidence for the locker of how me receiving something in PR does not equal a positive review. It's the Bobbi Brown eyeshadow sticks. I really wanted to love these. I really wanted to. And I don't mind the shimmer shade. So I used these in my makeup and movies. You must watch because I think it's quite amusing if you're not me. But I used these two shades in that video. So Midnight Olive, which is this sort of olivey grey shade, and then I used one of the matte shades, which is where the problems began, and this is the shade Clay. So as you will know if you watched that video, the issue I have with the matte stick is the ability to blend it. blend it. If you wanted to use these as a liner, I think you'll be fine. And I think if you are more interested in the shimmer version, again, I think you'll be fine. They're not my favourite. Today I'm wearing the Danessa Myricks eyeshadow sticks. They're much more my cup of tea. But if you want something subtle, softer, less blingy than like what I've got on today, then they might be right up your street. There's nothing wrong with the shimmer sticks. They work really nicely, they glide really well, they don't crease, they've got some lovely shades. The issue I had, and I think you can see it now, that's been on my skin for like 1 second and there's no blending it. So I believe it is highly accurate to say that these are very long wearing, but as you can see, if you watch my makeup and movies video, you can't move them. And I did have someone saying, you know, you need to do one eye at a time. And I have tried that. It doesn't massively help, to be honest. And I just don't, like, for me, that's fine if you don't mind doing one eye at a time and literally doing, you don't even have time to sort of, you know, do a bit and blend and go back, or do, you know, sort of this bit and then add. It's almost set down and immovable immediately as you apply it. I've tried it a couple of times. I really wanted to love these, and I think there's pros here. The longevity, the immovability, it's going to be completely bulletproof, but I just can't get it where I want it without a huge amount of time and effort. So they're not for me, which is a shame because I really wanted to love them, and I think it's great that they're so long wearing and hardy, but I do need to be able to like get them where I want them first, you know, without arm ache and breaking 3 brushes in the process. Next up, let's talk about these reformulated Dior highlighting palettes. I feel like people are going to be furious about this because these palettes are lots of people's like holy grail. They've never been mine. I don't mind them, I think they're okay, but I far prefer Dior's permanent single highlighters. They're some of my favourites. They've got some stunning shades. These Backstage palettes have just, I never enjoyed them as much as their single standalone highlighters. So the shade I picked up is Peachy, Pearly Peach Glow, and I did again demo this in my makeup and movies if you missed that, if you want to see this in action. Now I purchased this thinking I'd be able to use this as like eyeshadow, blush and highlight, and I think the images on the Dior website are perhaps a little misleading. They definitely made me think that these shades could be a blush on me, and they definitely can't. I did try to make a blush in my makeup and movies video, and it can't make one. There's just no colour on my skin tone. If you are very fair, you may be able to, but on my skin tone, which is more of a medium skin tone, there was no blush effect to be had here. So that was a little disappointing, but it's fine, you know, that's not advertised in that way. It's advertised as a highlighter palette, so fair enough. One of the shades is significantly more sparkly and shimmery than the others. Are all very subtle. These 3 are all very subtle, and then we have this more twinkly shade, Twinkling Number, and I used that shade in my inner corners today, and I really like that for an inner corner little twinkle in your eye. But the other shades I just find very blah. You know, I do love a peachy highlighter, but this does not come close to like the Chanel Coral highlighters, of which I have like 3, and the, you know, the Symbols Coral highlighter from Chanel, that is absolutely stunning. I feel like these are a little underwhelming. They're not particularly exciting. I don't think if you have a lot of highlighters, this is one that you should run out and buy. I just think it's okay. There's nothing sort of wowing me about it. I have got it on today. I think I used this shade down here today for highlighter. The sort of peachier shades are a little more subtle as well, I think, as far as the glow. So I used that sort of more neutral shade today, and it's okay. It's barely there. I don't think it's especially giving me like wow factor, and I think your money's probably better off somewhere else entirely. Next, I want to talk to you about the Charlotte Tilbury Life Changing Lip Mask. But is it life changing? I don't think it is. I got the Pillow Talk shade, which is described as a fresh glow vanilla. This smells faintly, it's not a strong scent at all, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting something much stronger scent-wise than this. It's faint candy floss to me. I don't know if it's just me, but that's what I smell. Very faint candy floss. I've been using this only for a couple of days and it's okay. It's got like, it's almost a bit grainy when you first apply it. Let me see if you can see the graininess on camera. I don't know if you'll be able to make it out. Now that does dissolve as you sort of apply this to the lips and sort of, you know, rub it in. It does disappear, but it's a little alarming at first. As I was applying that, I was thinking, what's happening? Because I purposefully wiped my lips before applying this, and I thought, how is that happening? Is this a scrub? Have I got confused? But then as I sort of massaged it in, that went away, and then it felt very, very nice on the lips. I have to say, I don't think this is like a patch on the Laneige lip sleeping mask. That feels much nicer to me, silkier. It feels heavier weight, and I think the sort of effect on the lips is much nicer. I also love the Tatcha lip mask that I always wear when I'm going barefaced. I just want my lips to have, you know, a bit of hydration and shine throughout the day, and I think that gives my lips just a bit of a nicer look. It's not like especially shiny, it's a bit sheer, it doesn't really have any colour to it. I expected it to have a bit more colour, again based off of the images. So again, I think there's nicer lip masks out there that maybe will do a bit more for you as far as the hydration. The packaging is beautiful. I do like that sort of pin tuck that Charlotte does very often, very feminine, pretty, girly, chintzy, very Charlotte Tilbury. So I do like the packaging. I'm not wowed by the product. I don't feel like it's doing a lot for me. Now let's talk about these Dior On Stage lipsticks. Now initially I just ordered one shade of these because I just wasn't sure if it would be for me, if I would like it as much as I wanted to, and I immediately went back for 2 more shades. So I now have 3 shades of this. I'm wearing 120 today. I love these. They smell amazing. They smell like a doll's head, potentially. I love the packaging. I love that they barely have any transfer. I love that they stay shiny, and I love that they wear incredibly well, and they have some beautiful shades. They don't have enough shades for my liking. I need a lot more, but a really nice lipstick, a perfect like out for dinner lipstick. I don't think they can beat the Chanel Duo Tenue. I thought they might, but I do think the Chanel Duo Tenue stay a bit glossier, and also I think those do cope with like dinner and drinks a little better than these. These will make it through dinner and a couple of glasses of wine. I've tested it out for science. You're welcome. But I do think the Chanel like just wear a hair better than these, but they are very, very good, and you don't have to bother with the double ends. So, you know, pros and cons, but I've really liked these. And now we have 3 complexion products to talk about. First up, the Armani skin tint, which I don't think I've used on camera because I've just not had the time to do everything I've wanted to do. I've got 1 week left and we're back to regular scheduled programming as my children will be back at school, but I haven't got around to using this and reviewing this on camera yet. But I have had this for a good few weeks now, and I've given it a good few goes. I don't love it. I think it's okay. When I first put it on, I think it's fine. It's very light coverage, so it does what it says on the tin. It's not one of these skin tints that sort of gives you a medium coverage. It's a light, sheer leaning amount of coverage. Very natural, pretty, but not like amazing finish wise. I'd like a little bit more glow to a skin tint. Really have me looking sort of fresh, glowy, healthy, youthful skin. I've just had a facial, but I'm not wearing makeup. That's what I want from a skin tint. I'm not sure about you. And this is just a little too flat for me. Also, this claims to be like a long wearing skin tint, which is tricky to do. I wore this when I went to my son's football training session the other day, and we literally got caught in like only I think a 5-minute rainstorm, but we were wet. Okay, we were out there in the middle of a field, no cover. I was wearing this, and let's just say when I got back to the car, I had like streaks, rivulets, if you will, down my cheeks where it had rained, and it wasn't like a monsoon. Okay, it was a lot of the fine rain, really fine rain that somehow drenches you. That's what happened. So I didn't really feel like my makeup should have been affected. Like most of my foundations would have held up to that. Not this one, it was gone. It was gone in streaks, no less. So I wasn't a huge fan. There were so many better skin tints than this one. The Hourglass, the Lisa Eldridge, the Milk, the Chanel. I don't love it. It's not the best. Next up, let's talk about the YSL All Hours Glow Foundation. I was so excited for this one, and I do love the packaging. Gorgeous it is. I don't love the foundation. I like it. I don't love it with gumption. It's got a nice amount of coverage, pretty medium to full, I'd say, straight off the bat. I think my number one complaint about this is it's not as glowy as I wish it were. You know, if you've got your All Hours matte foundation, so the other foundation should be glowy. It shouldn't be natural, it should be glowy, okay? Give us what we want and what we crave. You gave it to the matte lovers, where's ours? So yeah, that was a little sad. I wanted much more glow, and the thing is, this foundation was not helped by the fact that it came out straight after the new Tom Ford foundation, which we'll talk about in a minute, because I feel like everything was going to feel disappointing after that one. So yeah, it's just okay for me. I feel like there's a lot of foundations I prefer in this category of that sort of medium to full but glowy, long wearing foundations. There are, you know, all of my favourites I prefer to this one. It wouldn't make it into my top drawer, my top rotation of favourites in this category, which is disappointing. I really thought it was going to be, you know, with YSL when they used to have their original Touche Eclat foundation that was just it for everybody. Where is it? Because I don't think this is as nice, but nothing disastrous. I think it wears decently well. It looks okay. It's not especially flattering. It looks a little makeup-y as well. Not my favourite, but you know what is my favourite? The new-ish Tom Ford Architecture Radiance foundation. You had us worried for a minute. So if you don't know and you didn't watch my review, rude, but I'll let you off this one time. This has replaced the Shade and Illuminate foundation. I know. That was my holy grail for 5+ years. I absolutely love everything about the Shade and Illuminate foundation. It's my favourite, my holy grail, and has been for a very long time. And they decided to take it from me. But luckily, I think this is even better. I didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be ruined, okay? And I was just going to have to find a new job. But I should have had more faith. It's beautiful. I'm wearing it today. It's perfection. It's everything I want from a foundation. It's absolutely perfect in every way for me. It gives me a solid, skin-like medium coverage that is so natural straight off the bat, no having to build up for half an hour. Straight away, all of my redness and discoloration and melasma is evened out in the most natural way that it could almost be nothing. You can build up to a full coverage very easily and still look like skin and still feel lightweight and just be so flattering on lines, texture, wrinkles, everything, and it wears incredibly well. I've tried this out many times now, long periods of time. It's just stunning. Again, when I was in a real rush the other day with the 5-minute makeup, I used this and I felt like I could just go out with just this. It's just so beautiful and flattering and perfecting and enhancing without taking away from like your natural skin. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. I think it's a hair better than the Shade Illuminate, and that just comes down to the amount I have to use. So this definitely is less runny and watery than the original, and that means you can apply this with the sponge without having to use 25 pumps, because the sponge is just taking it all from you underneath your nose. So I love that. I also just think this maybe wears a hair better and is quicker to get to the coverage. I don't necessarily think it has, maybe it has a hair more coverage, but the difference mostly is how much product you need to use and how quickly you get to the coverage. So I think it's maybe just pipped the Shade and Illuminate as being the all-time greatest foundation. Also, the £50 smaller price tag does not help. For the exact same luxurious packaging and finish and all of that, we will take the saving. Everybody say thank you, Tom Ford. But there you have it. That is everything new that I tried in the month of August. Please let me know what you tried. Did you try any of these same products that I did? How did you get along with them? Please let me know all of your thoughts on all of these new products in the comment section down below. But thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.